Perhaps you remember learning about one-point perspective in 4th grade. One-point perspective is when you have a point on your paper and all of the images seem to go towards that one point, hence the name one-point perspective. Some things that we learned about one-point perspective is that you start with a horizon line. Horizon line is where the sky and land divide. So up here we've got the sky, and down here we've got the land and grass, okay? To do one-point perspective, you start with horizon line. Then you add one vanishing point someplace on your horizon line, and that looks simply like a dot. Then you're going to make objects disappear and recede to this point. So you simply will draw a shape, any shape you want. And remember, you use your ruler to make it recede to that spot. So you're going to match up each of the points to your vanishing points. I line up my ruler, I double check, move it back and forth several times so it's lined up with this point and the vanishing point, and draw a straight line to connect them. And I do that with each other point. Sometimes it helps to rotate the sketch, your book, your paper around. Line up your points and rotate. Line up the points here and rotate. And then all of a sudden, it appears that your square is disappearing to your vanishing point. You can do that with any shape you want to, as long as you match the lines and the points up. Okay? That is one-point perspective. But in 5th grade, we are going to learn about two-point perspective. And I bet you can guess that two-point perspective is different because it has 2 points. First, we start with a horizon line. I'm going to write down our vocabulary over here. Horizon line. First, we start with a horizon line. That is simply a line through the middle that divides the land and sky. It's the same thing. The sky is on this paper, and the land is over here with our grass on the bottom. Okay? But instead of 1 point on your paper, you're going to do 2 vanishing points. Vanishing points, because this is where your buildings or your items will appear to disappear. They will appear to vanish. Okay? So with my pencil, I'm going to make my vanishing points very close to the edge of the paper, and I suggest that you do that as well. Okay? Now, there's a difference between 1 and 2 point perspective. You will use 2 point perspective if you're looking at the corner of something, like if you're looking at the corner of a box and you want to see how it goes this way and how it goes this way. You will do 1 point perspective if you want to see how everything goes into the middle. So we're going to do 2 point perspective like the edge of a box or a city or the street corner. Okay? So to do that, we need to start with the edge of our street corner by drawing a vertical line. Vertical just means up and down, like this. Horizon is side to side. So somewhere on my paper, I'm going to draw not a very tall or long one, but just a vertical line that's going to be the corner of my building. My building is then going to go to the edge so that I can see both sides of my building. What I do now is from the points on my line, I connect to the vanishing point. So I'm simply going to line it up, use my pencil to draw a line. This is called orthogonal line. These are the lines that go backwards and forwards to match to your vanishing points. I'm going to do that on all sides and tops and bottoms. Connect the top and the bottom. Now, one thing I suggest is that you do this with a very light pressure with your pencil, because we are going to go back and erase things, and if you press really hard, they won't erase very well. Got them all lined up, and check it out. This would look like a really long building that disappears on the horizon. But I don't want to make it a really long building. I want to make it some sort of tall skyscraper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a perfectly vertical line up and down that starts from wherever my orthogonal line was, goes straight down to the other orthogonal line. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Then I can take my eraser and erase everything I don't need, because what I want is this building, this square, to be existing. So I'm going to erase the extra orthogonal lines that I did not need on both sides. And I also need to erase the horizon line that's in the middle, because this building is not made of glass. It's not see-through. It's probably made of brick or something, so I can't see the horizon line. That's just silly. So I'm going to erase it. I need to fix it up a little. At this point, if you want, you can go back and darken the orthogonal lines that you drew to make your box. Now this becomes the roof. This becomes the floor. And these are the walls, okay? And then you have the corner and so on. You can do the same thing and add other details to this building, like windows. Start with some sort of orthogonal line from your vanishing point into your building, and this will be like the bottom part of the windows. I want to make the top part of the window, so I'm going to rotate my ruler up, make sure it's at the vanishing point, draw a line, and then I can draw vertical lines that might look like my windows. I can go in and color them in if I want to make them have extra detail. And I erase any line that I don't need in the middle. You could do the same thing with some sort of door. Maybe I start the door, I want it to be about this tall and about this tall. So then I'm going to take my vanishing point to connect it to the top and draw it back. If I drew it all the way back, it would connect to the vanishing point, but I don't need to do that. So I'm going to erase any line that I don't need. And then at this point, I can add other details onto my door to make it look more appropriately like a door. Maybe I want to add a window, so I'm going to draw an orthogonal line, a small one, push it up, make another small one, and then two vertical lines to make a window. Okay, that's one way to make one-point perspective. Now we might call this a tall skyscraper. But what if I were to make a building that's short, maybe one that's over here, and I can see the roof? Well, it starts out the same way. You start with your vertical line, and you're going to do your orthogonal lines, gently press with your pencil, down, line up the vanishing point to the top of your line, draw the orthogonal line. I'm going to do it over here. Yes, it's going to go through this building. We will erase that later, but it will help us in the meantime. My orthogonal line goes from the point of my vanishing point to the point of my vertical line. Line up the vanishing point to the top of my vertical line. Draw an orthogonal line all the way. And there we go. This would be my other building. But it's not done yet. I need to add more vertical lines. So maybe this is one side of the house and this is the other side of the tall house. Okay? Same thing. I'm going to go back and erase all of the orthogonal lines I didn't need. If something were to be inside it, like last time the horizon line was inside it, I'd erase that too. But it's not, so I don't need to. Okay? I can go back and darken up these lines because I know that they were the correct ones and the most important. But check it out. This space needs a roof. So I need to connect orthogonal lines from the vanishing point to the different corners. Now, what's going to happen is if I were to do it this same way, connect this top to this line, it would just continue and I'd be redrawing my orthogonal line. And that's not something I want to do. So it's actually opposite. I'm going to connect this point to this vanishing point. I'm going to draw it all the way. And then I'm going to connect this point, vanishing point, to the top of this line, and I'm going to draw it all the way as well. Now you'll notice it crisscrosses in the back to make the back corner of my building. And again, I drew on top of my other building, so I'm going to erase those lines. Now that I know what exactly is correct, I can go and darken it. I can add in other details like a row of windows with horizon lines. Erase the things I don't need. Maybe, oops, I erased stuff I didn't want to. Maybe I add in a door, so I'm going to start with vertical lines. And I'm going to connect the top of those vertical lines to the vanishing point and add a door handle, okay? That is 2-point perspective. The words that you need to know are horizon line, vanishing points 1 and 2, vertical lines are up and down, and orthogonal lines are the ones that connect the vertical line to the vanishing point. You are now going to get this worksheet about 2-point perspective boxes practice, okay? First, write your name on it and write your class code. Up here are some examples for you of what the steps look like, and I have written down the words that include vocabulary so that you will know what to do. First, you draw a horizon line, then you draw your vertical lines. Then you connect the vanishing points to the vertical lines with orthogonal lines. Then you add more vertical lines and you erase what's not necessary. On this worksheet, I want you to follow those steps. Draw a horizon line, add in your vanishing points, and draw a vertical line. Then connect your vertical line with orthogonal lines, add more vertical lines, and erase what's not needed. I want you to do this for one skyscraper and one short house that's below the horizon line like this. This would be a skyscraper, and this house is below the horizon line, and we can see the roof. This is a practice. Here are some examples of how 2-point perspective has been used in famous art, paintings, and photographs. You can see that the buildings or images seem to disappear back to the 2 different points. Here are some images that show what projects students just like you have done in the past. I want you to be inspired by these images so that you can create your own 2-point perspective piece. It can be buildings or a box or shapes or even an inanimate object. Your design is up to you as long as you use 2-point perspective and have at least one cube in your image. You will be given one 8 by 11 piece of paper, and you may use pencils and coloring materials to make your 2-point perspective image. You will also be given 2 class periods to complete this project.